till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there and welcome to the News at 4 with me, Sabena Izuku. Nigeria has recorded a new Ebola case to bring the number of confirmed cases in the country to 19. The Health Minister Oyubuchi Chukwu disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja. He revealed that the new case is the fiance of one of the primary contacts of the index case, but added that he has recovered. The Health Minister, however, noted that only one patient is currently receiving treatment in Nigeria. He identified the sole patient as the wife of Port Harcourt Dr. Ike Enemo. Nigerian soldiers are turning back fleeing residents of Mubi in Adamawa State as they engage Boko Haram insurgents in an attempt to regain the town. The soldiers are also said to be engaging in a fierce battle with members of the sect, all through Sunday night and Monday morning to regain full control of Michika. Fighter jets are bombing the hideouts of insurgents while foot soldiers battle their locations around Michika Local Government Area Secretariat. Executive Director of Stefanos, Mark Libdo, says the military are turning back Nigeria running out of Mubi in reaction to the news of insurgents approaching Mubi town. A curfew is now in place to enable the military restore order, as reports say the military are gaining grounds over the insurgents. The authorities of Adamawa State University, Mubi, have announced an indefinite closure of the institution due to the fear of possible attacks from the insurgents. In a statement issued by Hassan Tanko, acting registrar of the institution, students were directed to go home. He stated that the university was closed indefinitely for security reasons. Meanwhile, some students of the university say they are stranded due to residents' rush to leave the town. One of the students, who identified himself as Ali, said many commuters were now stranded in the commercial border town due to lack of vehicle. Determined to forge strong alliance against terrorism and violent extremism with Nigeria's neighbors, President Goodluck Jonathan will hold a talk with Chad President Idris Deby in N'Djamena on Monday. In a statement by Jonathan's spokesman Reuben Abati, Chadian President, who is also the current chairman of the African Union Peace and Security Council, will host Nigerian President. Monday's meeting is a follow-up to the discussion in Kenya on the sidelines of the African Union Peace and Security Council Summit. President Goodluck Jonathan and his host will discuss the actualization of agreement for greater cooperation against insurgents and terrorists reached by Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon at a meeting in Paris earlier this year. The talks are expected to lead to the strengthening of Paris Accord on joint border patrols, intelligence sharing, and the prevention of illicit movements of terrorists, criminals, arms, and ammunition across shared borders. President Goodluck Jonathan will be a special guest of honor at the International Conference on Information, Technology, and Communication in N'Djamena on Tuesday before returning to Nigeria. The recent insurgent attack in northeast of the country has continued to generate reactions from leaders. Former Petroleum Minister Tam David West has urged politicians to be more committed to the development of the country. He stressed that the election process should be improved to bring about leaders with genuine interest of the people.
A country where the vote of the president for food is 1 billion naira a year, yet he cannot pay 18,000 naira minimum wage. It's a great country, we must salvage it. But over the years, I've grown to lose faith in our election and our leaders. A nation where a president will say that stealing and corruption are different. Stealing and corruption are different. If you say stealing, if you don't know what is corruption, how can you fight it? A country where the president says Boko Haram is in my cabinet, is my government, and he cannot take them off. A country where the president of a nation with 200 girls, and he swore to protect the constitution of the country, and he's the chief executive and chief security officer of the country, and this protection of the citizen is one of the primary responsibilities of the president. He was afraid to go to Chibok. Instead of going there, he invited the parents to come, housed them in Abuja, and gave them money, not bribe, but gift. How much money can you give them to substitute for the lives of their children?
A group of Muslim professionals known as the Companion has called on all Nigerians and Muslims alike to come together to fight the activities of the Boko Haram sect. The call was made at its annual monthly gathering. The activities of the group has no basis in Islam. The report.
The group known as the Companion says the activities of the Boko Haram sect has no basis in Islam, calling on all Nigerians to stand up and be counted in the move to put a stop to its violent activities. The national president, Musbaudin Oyefeso, says activities of the group have shown that it is un-Islamic.
Practically and declaratively, they are not Muslims. Because if they are Muslims, they will not be killing co-Muslims, number one. Number two, they will not even be destroying properties of Muslims, and they will not even be operating in a land where you have very huge Muslim population. So they can never be Muslims, and they are not Muslims. Secondly, Islam abhors violence in any form. We have just been exposed to exceptions to violence or situations where Muslims can defend themselves, not even unleash violence on anybody for any reason.
Lagos State Amir of the group, Majim Yusuf, says though groups such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State are Muslims by birth, but they are a misguided bunch of people who have twisted the tenets of Islam to further their selfish and violent desires.
Both groups, Boko Haram and ISIS, made up of Muslims, no doubt, would appear to be made up of misguided Muslims. They transgress the limits set by Allah and acceptable to Islam, and their activities are generally un-Islamic, and for that reason I join other Muslims in condemning the activities of ISIS and Boko Haram.
The group rose from its meeting with a resolve to continue to educate Muslims on the activities of groups like Boko Haram and Islamic State as un-Islamic and one they should fight.
Senator Bindo Jubrila is to fly the flag of the All Progressive Congress on the 11th of October. The governorship by-election in Adamawa State. Jubrila emerged victorious at the APC primaries, which involved over 6,000 delegates voting across all the 21 local government areas. He polled 2,718 votes to beat his nearest challenger, Ibrahim Mijinyawa, who had 2,268 votes. Former ACN Deputy National Chairman Boss Mustafa came third with 515 votes. Former Vice President and Chieftain of All Progressive Congress, Atiku Abubakar, has congratulated Senator Bindo Jubrila on his emergence as the party's candidate for the October 11 governorship by-election in Adamawa State. Atiku backed a different aspirant but says as a Democrat he has accepted the results of the primaries and urged other party members to follow suit. He noted in a statement issued by his media office that the APC in Adamawa had, through a rancor-free and transparent primaries, signaled its intention to work together to wrestle power from the PDP in the state. Atiku Abubakar stressed that the APC primaries in the state was not a personality contest, but a rescue mission to pave the way for the transformation and economic development of the state. The acting governor of Adamawa State, Umaru Fintiri, has won the governorship primaries of the People's Democratic Party, enabling him to contest on the tickets of the party for Adamawa governorship election on the October 11th. Fintiri defeated his rivals by securing 624 votes, while his closest rival, former Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education, Ahmed Modibo, scored 197 votes. Former military administrator of Lagos State, Buba Mawa, came third with 54 votes. The primary, which stretched into the early hours of Sunday morning, was adjudged free and fair. The candidate of the All Progressive Congress is expected to emerge on Sunday, the 7th of September. The former Lagos... we'll take a short break, and when we return, CoreTV News on the Hour will return.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. As part of efforts to keep the Nigerian Navy in shape, Western Naval Command has organized a 3-day small arms firing exercise for officers and ratings. Omotayo Alo was at the Nigerian Army shooting range, Owode, where the exercise took place, and filed in this report.
Not just observing, but having a feel of what it means to hit a target by the naval officers. The 3-day small arms firing exercise is aimed at improving the weapon handling skills of personnel and developing intuitive response and initiative under battle conditions. The exercise witnessed a lot of impressive performance as officers proved their worth in hitting targets from afar. At the closing ceremony, the first demonstration was the helicopter shooting exercise. Then officers on their training showcased what they have learned in the past 3 days. The special guest of honor, Director General Nimasa, represented by his deputy Sunday Umorin, expressed satisfaction at the command's training skills aimed at preparing them for eventuality.
As reported, it's been quite a success in terms of the degree of accuracy and show of professionalism. So it's a clear indication that we can all go home and be sleeping, knowing that the good guys are doing the good job for us.
Declaring the command's determination to continue in the spirit of marksmanship, the Flag Officer Commander in Western Naval Command, Sami Alade, represented by the Command Chief Staff Officer, Etim Etifit, says he is confident of an excellent performance if the command is called for external competition of small arms handling skills.
I'm sure we've always been ready and will always be ready. And from what we have all witnessed today, there is no doubt that the Navy is on top of its job, and we are ever ready.
The small arms fire exercise is one of the most important events in the Nigerian Navy calendar, usually organized annually across the Federation. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Right at the Nigerian Army shooting range, Owode, Ogun State, the Nigerian Navy Western Command have once again showed and exhibited the importance of training and preparedness towards attacking and fighting the enemies of the Nigerian waters. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Ogun State.
Nigerian aviation authorities have ordered a total review of the security system at all airports across the country. Minister of Aviation Osita Chidoka disclosed this during an on-the-spot assessment of the ongoing construction work at the Abuja airport. The minister maintained that his focus is to ensure safety in the air and security of passengers. Fire Samuel has a report.
For some time now, airports across the country have been upgraded to enhance passengers' convenience and safety. But government is still not satisfied with the safety and security system in place around the airports. Now, Aviation Minister Osita Chidoka is determined to put a stop to what he considers as security lapses. He is prepared to channel available resources towards ensuring the safety of Nigeria's airspace.
And the safety of air freight and passengers. So we're talking to airline operators, we're talking to NCAA inspectors, and we're making sure that we focus greatly on the safety of our airspace.
During the inspection, the minister was satisfied with the level of work that is ongoing.
I've also tried to see that my predecessor has done very well in the terminal remodeling and the building, so there's no new thing to add there. All we need to do is to focus and complete the work that's already started.
Passengers in recent times have had cause to complain over what they describe as slow pace of work at the airport. But the minister was quick to announce when the Abuja terminal will be fully ready for use.
The work is going on well, but there's a lot of disruption to passenger operations. So part of our strategy will be to communicate more with the passengers to let them know that these are temporary inconveniences. Within now and the next 4 to 6 months, we hope to get the full terminal up and running in domestic area. So the walkthrough and the suffering that the passengers are going through will be a thing of the past.
Before now, Nigeria has had its fair share of air mishaps, but with the current upgrade of the security and air safety system, the authorities are convinced that the country will regain its Category 1 air safety certification. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has declared the gubernatorial aspirant in Bauchi State, Abdullahi Usman Adamu, alias Dan China, wanted. The politician is wanted by the AntiGraft Agency for allegedly obtaining $500,000 from a Chinese company by false pretense. The EFCC says the suspect obtained the money from the Chinese firm as part payment for the supply of 3,000 metric tons of lead ore, but failed to deliver on the contract. The commission later invited him based on a petition from the Chinese embassy, but he failed to honor the invitation. The suspect is currently on the run as efforts to track him, including several visits to his home in Narabi, Bauchi, proved futile. The AntiGraft Agency has also declared one Godswill Oyegwa Oyoyo, an information technology staff of a new generation bank, is wanted over a case of multi-billion fraud case. Godswill allegedly conspired with some scammers and obtained 6.2 billion naira from his bank after hacking into his bank database. The 38 years old is from Isuku South local government area of Delta State. An educationist, Coleman Ajiboye, is not comfortable with government's decision to tinker with the resumption of schools over the Ebola virus. He told CoreTV News in Abuja that government officials should be considering extending Ebola sensitization program to schools.
Extending the resumption of students, I don't think it has a serious meaning to eradication or prevention of Ebola. There is no school that is as crowded, for example, as a Wuse market or Maraba market. Why is it that markets are not closed? So it is even from the engine room where we can get knowledge on how to eradicate Ebola that you are closing down. So you are shutting down a knowledge, not preventing an escalation of Ebola. Therefore, to me personally, you are going to put the students into a serious or a kind of aggression in their studies because they have to meet up with finishing their syllabus. I think universities or tertiary institutions, they are in session. So what is the difference? What is the population of students in the universities, polytechnics, and that of secondary schools and primary schools? So what is it that government is really preventing?
India's worst flood disaster in 50 years kills over 100 people. That comes up after the break.
From the capital markets, we bring information on stock market reports, talk about GDP and economic growth, showcase entrepreneurs and startups, bring on financial experts to analyze and share the views on financial issues affecting the economy. On Business Weekly, we bring business to you.
Welcome back. Soldiers are battling to rescue thousands of people trapped in Indian Kashmir, worst flooding for half a century, which has left more than 100 people dead, and the main city of Krishnanagar underwater. 350 villages have also been submerged since torrential monsoon rains triggered flooding across the prehistoric Himalayan region of Jammu and Kashmir. Across the border in Pakistan, landslides, flash flooding, and houses collapsed from days of heavy rain, leaving about 128 people dead. The Jhelum River, swollen by heavy rain, flooded large parts of Srinagar and forced frantic residents onto rooftops. Hundreds of troops, police and other emergency personnel, backed by helicopters and boats, have been deployed across the state to reach those stranded, with 11,000 people rescued so far, officials say. Prime Minister Narendra Modi flew to the remote region to meet Abdullah and emergency response officials amid concerns the death toll could rise. The crisis between Israel and Hamas in Gaza Strip has completely crumbled the aviation sector in Gaza. The once busy airport is now a shadow of itself, dashing hopes of a Palestinian sovereignty. In this report, correspondent takes a look at the Gaza without an airport. The report.
Walking through the rooms of where they used to work, Anis and Wasim were air traffic controllers during the short existence of Gaza's airport.
This was the main entrance for the cars, and here was the parking area. This is the main building for travellers, this part was for departures, and this part for arrivals.
From the main passenger terminal to the VIP area, only traces of what used to be. Symbolically inaugurated in 1998 by Bill Clinton and late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat during peace negotiations, the airport represented a step towards Palestinian sovereignty, but hope faded fast. Israel bombed the radar tower in 2001 during the second Palestinian uprising in Gaza. It has been closed ever since.
When you see this building and you see the ruins of Yasser Arafat International Airport, it brings tears to your eyes. It's painful. You feel a sense of loss.
I remember here there was grass and gardens and roses and nice things. The window of my office was here.
The airport is regularly targeted by Israeli airstrikes, including during the latest offensive. These 50 days of fighting ended with a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. Further talks between the two sides are due to take place in Cairo, and the airport is a key demand.
Israel, the occupying forces, need to allow us the entry of these materials for that airport until the airport has been rebuilt as it was before it was targeted.
Today, there are only two ways out of Gaza for Palestinians, one through Israel, another through Egypt. But since the beginning of Israel's blockade of the enclave in 2006, residents face severe restrictions at both crossings. According to the UN, opening the airport would not only grant Gazians freedom of movement, but also boost the economy.
If they were able to, for instance, export textiles or woods, that would be a great opportunity for them to be able to shift this cargo on an airlift. I mean, it will be tremendously beneficial.
The airport is now home to young men looking for scrap metal to sell, as well as a different breed of visitor. Passengers won't return until an agreement is reached to let Gazians make use of their skies again.
Please do join us at the top of the hour for more. I am Sabina Izuku. Thank you very much indeed for watching.